Hello, my name is Rochelle Catherine Martinez-Schoof, and this is the Osmosis Dialysis Lab. So to start this lab out, I use the dialysis tubing found in the Carolina kits, and I've already pre-cut some. This is what the dialysis tubing looks like. It's very thin, and it needs to be opened. So I've already put it in the water so that it could soak, and while it's doing that, I wanted to explain a little bit about why we're doing this experiment in the first place. So cells have what's called a semi-permeable membrane, and essentially what it means is that some things can pass through and others cannot. So semi-permeable means some things can come through, but the cell gets to decide. And it depends on the size of the solute as well as the concentration gradient that goes on between the outside and inside of the cell. So for example, if there's something outside of the cell and the concentration gradient is really high on the outside and it's allowed into the cell membrane, then it'll permeate the cell and come inside to the lower concentration because it goes from higher concentration to lower concentration. And the dialysis tubing, which we're preparing right now, is supposed to simulate that lipid membrane that has the semi-permeable membrane of a cell wall. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So essentially what we're going to be doing, I'm going to pull one of these out, and it's supposed to have been opened. I'll give it a couple more minutes. While it's opening, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be using, I have 300 milliliters in both of these jars. And what I'm going to put in there is I have an iodine solution. It's a yellow solution. And I'm going to put 20 drops in this one and 20 drops in this one. And each of them will have two different types of dialysis tubing. One of them will be filled just with water, and one of them will be filled with water and a tablespoon of cornstarch. And essentially what it's going to do is, if the hypothesis is correct, the iodine will go from the higher concentration in here to the lower concentration inside of the cell. However, in the cornstarch one, it won't come out. It'll actually turn the cornstarch a purplish dark color. And so that's what we'll be seeing. So I'm going to set it up, and then I'm going to pause the video, and we're going to let everything do its thing for 30 minutes. And then we should be able to get going. And we'll be able to see the difference between the two and how the iodine has permeated, but the larger solutions, such as the starch that comes from the cornstarch, the starch solutions won't. Okay, so as you can see, so I let it soak for a little bit of time there, and then I'm just using my fingers to open it up. And we're gonna almost create like a bag for this. So just give me a second to open it up. We will open this side up, and then I'm going to tie one side, and I think we'll make this one our control that's just got the water in it that I'll pipe into it. If I can get it open enough. But if you can see, so it starts almost feels like it's one piece, and they use this dialysis tubing when you go through dialysis to keep the toxins out, or to get toxins out of your blood system. That's what they use for dialysis, and it's able to filter things through it. Needs a little bit more time, but I think we're almost there. There we go. Almost. Okay, so I've opened it up, and I'm going to take my pipette, which is here, and I'm going to fill this bag just with water. And we'll get to see the difference between a bag that has starch in it and a bag that doesn't have starch in it. So I'm just filling it up right now. And we'll see how much we need. We don't need it to be a ton. I just want to fill it enough. I'm losing it. Okay. I still have to tie it off, and I have fat fingers, so let's see if I can do this. Okay. So this is essentially what it looks like when it's done. So I filled it up just with water, and it's in there. And I am going to place it in this cup. But first, let's put 20 drops of the iodine solution in there. If I can get my dropper to work. Okay. And I filled it a lot. So I'm thinking I'll probably add 30 drops. Let's see how it's giving it this yellowish color to it. And obviously the reason I'm doing that is because of the more water, the more diluted the solution would be. And I really want to have a good concentration. So the iodine has turned it this yellowish color, and we're just gonna stick this bag into here. And after 30 minutes, we will see what happens. So that's the first one. And then we're gonna work on the second one, which has been soaking longer, so it should hopefully open up easier. And then I can pause the video once I have it all set up, and we'll wait 30 minutes and see what happens. Okay, so we're back. I have filled it. So that's my first dialysis bag. This is my second dialysis bag. One is filled with cornstarch and one is not. And so they're both gonna go into the solution that I will place iodine in. And then in half an hour, we will come back and see what happens. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes and we're back now. And I am looking at my different solutions right now. And so we've had a little bit of a problem here. So this is the clear iodine solution one, and it is clear. And the water itself is still that yellow color that you got from the sodium iodine. The one that had the starch in it had a little bit of a problem. As you can see, the water itself is purple. So if you remember correctly, the water is supposed to stay the yellow color, and the inside of the bag is supposed to turn purple, which if you see here, it started to turn purple inside. I think what happened was there was some leftover cornstarch in the bag when I tied it up and put it in. So the cornstarch ended up on the outsides falling into the solution and making the solution brown. But overall, with the exception of that, the cornstarch stayed in the bag and didn't go into the solution, theoretically. And then the iodine was able to permeate the membrane and go inside, and it went from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, turning the bag purple. And so that's what the experiment is supposed to show. Okay, thanks.